Hello and welcome to my Draw My Life video. I got the idea in my head for it and I just really wanted to do it, so I hope it comes out okay. My life started off in Haroldwood Hospital where my mum had me, and that was on the 20th of January 1996, and everyone always remembers the time because it was a couple of minutes to 8 and the lottery was on and everybody thought they were going to win and they didn't, but we thought we were going to have all this money but we didn't, so it was a letdown from day one. I have two sisters, one called Laura and one called Rose, and when I was born Laura was 8 and Rose was 5, and I remember when I come home from even just being born, they used to treat me like their own little rag doll, and it was so funny, but I didn't mind it, obviously. One of the main things I think people always remembered about me is that I just had no hair. It just didn't happen for me, it wasn't in the cards, and my mum always used to put these really awful hats on me in the summer and they used to look awful. And that was it. We lived in this townhouse, which I still live in now, and just my dad, my mum, my two sisters and me, and that's it. And we all lived in this big townhouse. Something I always remember about a kid is going to this place called Bella Boys with my dad, and we used to bring bread with us and we used to feed all the ducks and that, and I used to chuck all the bread at them, and I'd be really upset because they'd be ignoring me, and then as soon as they'd come up to me, I'd hate it and it would really scare me, and I wouldn't even want to go near him, and I'd try and run away from him and everything. And then I turned about 6 years old, and this is literally where I found my best friend. And yes, my best friend was a dog, and that dog was called Romeo, but I just loved him. I just absolutely loved him so much. He had this sofa bed thing that had his name imprinted on the back, and every time he'd be sleeping, if my sisters come up to him and try to stroke him, he'd just growl at them and they'd hate it. But the difference is, with me and him, it was just completely different. We just used to just play, genuinely play, and I remember always playing hide and seek with him. I'd be stay there, and then I'd run up the stairs, and then when I was hidden upstairs, I'd call him and he'd come up and he'd try and find me, and he'd always find me in the end. Sadly, when Romeo was only 4, we were on holiday, and when we come home, the woman who was looking after him told us that he'd just passed away. He had this heart problem that no one really knew about, and because it was just all inside him. And now we have this casket thing in our living room, and it's got his name on it, and it's got his ashes in it, and it says RIP on it, and it's good that we always have him in our hearts, and I always will have him in my heart. And then this is where Roxy come into it, and I think my dad saw how losing Romeo affected me, so he got me Roxy, and we got Roxy when she was 4, so we say it's kind of like Romeo died but gave Roxy another life. Anyway, as I was growing up, my mum and dad have this curtain business called C&R Fabrics, and as I was growing up, it kind of just got a bit more busy, so they couldn't really look after me. My dad was doing the curtain fitting, my mum was doing the secretary side of it. So I ended up staying with my nan and my granddad, and that's my nan and granddad. And I was so happy there. I genuinely was just so happy there. I didn't mind staying there. It was literally across the road, so it weren't far away, and I'd stay there a couple of nights a week, and my nan would pick me up from school and things like that. Every single time I used to stay there, I used to say to my granddad, I'm kicking you out, I'm staying with Nan in the double bed, you've got to stay in the single bed in the other room, and he never minded. Whenever I stayed around there, before I went to sleep every single night, my nan would get in bed and she would tickle my back and she'd tell me a story, and then if she was tired, she'd always start talking about a TV programme that she'd watched that day, and I'd be like, Nan, you're saying it wrong. in the mornings I would always get woken up early around my nan and granddad's because my granddad had this nebulizer and it made this sound, and I'd be woken up by it so early in the morning that never really used to bother me. I just used to go downstairs and sit with them. One of my granddad's favourite things to do was to walk down to the local town, and he'd go in the betting shop, put a bet on, and then he'd come home and he'd watch the horse racing and just to watch and see if he'd won anything. If he ever had any change lying around, he'd always save it up for me, and then he'd sit with me and he'd count it with me, and then he'd let me keep it all. He'd let me keep the money to take on holiday with me because I always used to go on holiday with my nan and granddad, and we always went to the same place, and the place is called Ventura, and I still go there now. That's where some of my videos were actually filmed. I think the amount of times I went there with my nan and granddad, we stayed in probably every single hotel in the town. They had this place on the beach where you could look at stingrays and little sharks and that, and I always remember going there with my nan and granddad. There was one really funny story I always remember. Me and my nan were looking over at probably the stingrays or the sharks, and my nan's glasses fell off and they fell straight into the sea, and she was like, "Don't tell your granddad, don't tell him," and it was just so funny. And really sadly, on the 17th of November in 2005, my granddad passed away, and the only thing I really remember seeing, I didn't go to the funeral, but I saw all flowers in the shape of granddad, and I remember he was a really big Arsenal fan of the football team, and he had all red and white flowers and the name of Arsenal and things like that, and it was just really sad. And then I was 11, and that's when I started secondary school, and I went to Francis Barzi, which is an all-girls school, with this really ugly uniform, and it wasn't great, and I hated it. I really hated school at the beginning. It really just didn't get along with me. I just found it really hard to make a secure group of friends, and I remember I had this High School Musical party that my sister Laura helped me plan, and we had all really nice food, and there was loads of stuff there. We still High School Musical, and then I think probably about 2 people turned up, and I did invite quite a few people, and that was really hard, and I never understood why. I never understood. I really felt so alone, and I just didn't understand why no one liked me. They just didn't. There's this one memory that just doesn't go away, and I was on the bus on the way to school, and I was actually planning to eat my lunch in the toilet because I had nobody to eat it with. And that's when it kind of hit me that if I wanted friends, I had to step up and make my own friends. So I literally just walked up to this girl, and I knew that she had quite a big group of friends, and I just said, "Can I be your friend?" And she just said yeah, and then I had a lovely group of friends. And then this is where I really enjoyed school for a little while, and I was actually happy, and I had lovely friends, and I didn't mind coming to school. It was good. I enjoyed it. And this is where my love for making YouTube videos come in. My mum used to get the camera and she used to video me, and I'd be in this ridiculous outfit, probably lip singing to Taylor Swift, and I enjoyed it though. I really had fun. I really enjoyed myself. And gradually it went from about 2 subscribers to about 100 subscribers. It kept going up, and it was the thing that got me through the day. It was the thing that I was always thinking about. And one Christmas I asked for an Apple mat because I wanted to use iMovie, and I didn't think I was going to get it because I asked for it 2 days before Christmas, but my mum and dad got it for me, and this just opened up a whole new set of doors, and I enjoyed editing even more. The really weird thing though is that as the views went up, my popularity in school went down badly, and I never got that. And then once again I was at this stage where no one really liked me again, and I still didn't know why. I didn't understand. I was just making videos because I enjoyed it. Okay, and then this is kind of where my love for playing guitar come in, I just decided I really wanted to play guitar. I asked my mum and dad for a guitar and they got me one, and that made me happy. So when things were bad, that always made me happy all the time. And this is where my love for Taylor Swift come in, and it's still going strong now. And I used to go on YouTube and I used to type in how to play this song, and then it'd come up with all these chords, and then I'd have to try and teach myself like what the chords were. But I think it worked best. Teaching myself was probably the best thing I ever did. And I remember, I think it was the end of year 10, and I had this performance in front of quite a lot of people at school, and I was so nervous, but I did it, and I enjoyed it so much. And I sang a song that I wrote, which is even more fun, and I just really started to love it. And then a really weird thing happened. I just kind of, a lot more people just started to take notice of me and think of me more as a person than just the weirdo who makes YouTube videos. And I made so many friends after that performance, I really did, and I was so happy again. And then I left school with A's and B's and really good grades, and I was really proud of myself. And I ended up going to college in London to access to music. I had to get the train every day, but it really only took like 20 minutes. It didn't bother me, and it was in Stratford. And as much as I say I didn't like that now, I did, and I met really amazing people, and I got so many amazing opportunities to sing in front of people, and it really was good fun. Here I am now, just finished college, happy, not sure what's going to happen next, but things are good, and I hope you enjoyed my Draw My Life video. Thank you.